If I may boast, I will boast about the things that show my weakness. But when I am weak, then I am strong. The Apostle Paul said those words in the 1st century AD, and that's going to set the tone this morning for my icebreaker speech. And it might be a little unusual that I would talk about something that would show my weakness, but I believe it's going to be a great way for us to break the ice this morning. And I'm going to talk about 3 phases of my life in terms of this tone. The first phase, I had an idyllic childhood. Just think idyllic. I grew up in Alabama. My parents were great. I had a little brother. We played, we fought. We were lower middle class, but we took great vacations, camping, went to the beach. Idyllic. I was a good kid. I was smart. I was obedient. I was a nice guy. It wasn't until my late teens that I began to ask some serious questions. Why am I insecure? Am I a real man? Do I have what it takes? Crickets. And those are big questions for a young man. In fact, I would say a lot of devastation is caused by men who don't get answers to those questions. And they demand an answer. A few weeks after my high school graduation, my dad leaves. And it was devastating to have these questions, and then my dad is divorcing us, basically, you know. And it's not, this speech isn't about my dad, it's not about pity, but let me just sum up my college years for you. Lots of anxiety, lots of denial about my dad and its effect on me, lots of drinking, drug use, and here's the stat for you, okay? 3 DUIs and 1 disorderly conduct arrest during college alone, which is nuts. Who does that? And who does that and lives? And the other thing that happened during that phase is I began to get answers to these questions. And with questions like these, you've got to be careful who you ask. Me, I asked what I saw on TV. I compared myself to other people. I took my questions to the world. And what do you think the mean, no, cruel world told me? You're not a man. You're weak. You don't have what it takes. People want to be users of life. They wish to expose themselves to experiences even when exposure involves challenge and danger. They have the desire to explore other people in the world. This is universal. One of the most basic needs of the human race is activeness. So I became active. I quit drinking. I quit doing drugs. I moved out to Jackson Hole. I skied. I went back. I got my MBA. I was mountain biking all the time. I moved out to Park City. I was skiing all the time. I was consulting. Active. But my questions, those unsettling answers that I got to my questions, still haunted me, and I was still wounded from the divorce. So, final phase. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive and go and do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. So May 5th, 2000, I'm driving down the Snowbird, and I'm not happy. And I just said, God, make my life better. 2 hours later, I meet my wife on the tram at Snowbird. Which is great. But more importantly, and don't tell my wife I said more importantly, but God began to speak into those questions. He said, you know what, Todd? You've been lied to. And also you believed the lies. A real man is responsible. A real man is committed. A real man sacrifices for others. He said, about what it takes. I'll give you what it takes. It takes strength, it takes courage, it takes love, it takes compassion, it takes forgiveness, it takes perseverance, it takes discipline. I'll give you what it takes. But now, Todd, I have a question for you. Now that you know what it takes, what are you going to do with it? And he also said, I'm going to ask the questions from here on out. For instance, your wife, does she feel loved? What are you going to give up to spend more time with your kids? What about your friend who's struggling with his career? How are you going to help him? Where are you going to serve? These are the questions, and they demand an answer. Thank you.